King. Chicago! Show your king some respect and stand on your feet!
Well, he does have a lovely smile, does Joe Alonzo.
Hey, sweetheart, COVID was in 2020, we're in 2025. Take your mask off. I know you're ugly and you wanted to hide behind the mask. Take it off. The trend is over. No one cares about COVID. Take your mask off and show everyone how ugly you are.
All right, that's enough.
Oh, y'all don't like that? Y'all don't like that?
Not endearing himself here to the Chicago faithful. That speaks for itself.
How about no? You see, it's simple, guys. All of you people are the same. You all just hate Joe Alonzo because you ain't Joe Alonzo, which is fine by me, because if I weren't Joe Alonzo, I would hate me too.
I think he might want to turn around, and there it is. Right hand by Cashflow.
This is what Joe Alonzo gets simply for expressing his opinion?
Well, he's not here to express his opinion. We're here for wrestling action.
Very intolerant folks here in Chicago.
And we are underway here. Joe Alonzo ran his mouth a little too much.
Heavy hands from Ken Broadway.
Those meat hooks. Oh, look at that. Been a while since we've seen that. Nice shoulder tackle there by Broadway. Broadway has the size advantage over Alonzo.
Ken Broadway looks focused in a way that I haven't seen in years from him.
I had the chance to speak with Ken before the show. Irish whip into the corner. In comes Alonzo, foot to the face. Nice rana by Ken Broadway, and we've seen this before. We know what comes next.
Building ahead of steam.
And Alonzo had it scouted. And
very smart on the part of Joe Alonzo.
That's good news for him because he would have been splattered all over that floor. But I was going to say, I had the chance to speak with Ken before the show, and he got personal in a way that he hasn't before. Told me that he went through a major life change. He moved from New York to St. Louis.
That was a mistake.
Went through a period of depression. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. And oh my goodness, like a missile out over the top rope. He didn't get him on that side, but he got him this time.
Incredible athleticism for a man of his size.
Not something that you would, absolutely not something you would expect, but he is not against risking his own body.
But why would anybody move to the Midwest?
Well, we didn't get into that, but he mentioned that he even went through a period of depression. And after such a long layoff here in House
I would
of
be
Glory,
depressed if I moved to St. Louis as well.
I knew you would say that, but he's trying to dig down deep, find the Ken Broadway of old. The Ken Broadway that held that Crown Jewel Championship for 281 days. Very
ring savvy there by Joe Alonzo, rolling out of the ring when Ken Broadway wanted to go high risk.
Broadway's not going to wait for him, and Alonzo better pay attention here because he's got trouble coming his way.
Alonzo cannot be distracted by these Chicago simpletons.
Right to the eyes.
Excellent maneuver by Joe Alonzo.
Broadway with a reversal. Broadway, oh my goodness, right into that barricade, right into that metal guardrail.
Just careening into that guardrail. Guardrail has no give.
Very unforgiving, and look at him. He'll take the count-out win. He doesn't care. A win is a win. There is no padding. There's no protection out there. That does not feel good.
Any win over Ken Broadway would be quite a feat.
Oh, absolutely.
Quite a feather in the cap of Joe Alonzo.
Without a doubt. Again, we have not seen Broadway in quite some time, but his resume speaks for itself. And now Alonzo just going crazy with those boots to the shoulder, to the neck.
Some killer instinct being displayed by Joe Alonzo right now, taking advantage of this opening.
Alonzo made his HOG debut in our Chicago debut last September in a suicidal six-way for the Cruiserweight title. Last time we saw him in this building, he put up a tough fight against the undefeated Turbo Pumi Nakuda.
That says a lot. Pumi Nakuda, extremely dangerous competitor.
I was going to say, don't judge a book by its cover. He may be cocky, but he is dangerous.
That's why you're sitting alone, you lonely.
Look at this. And
but
still
easily distracted.
Still mouthing off at the fans and not paying attention to the man in the ring.
This is a huge mistake.
This is going to cost him in the end. I mean, he just cannot.
Alonzo having a full conversation with someone at ringside.
Cannot take his eyes off the crowd. And there's a jawbreaker, and again, he made him pay for it.
Alonzo saying that he would hate himself if he weren't him, and he might be his own worst enemy there in this match.
Broadway with those heavy hands. Backs him into the corner. Irish whip reversed. Broadway goes in. Nice drop kick right in the face by Alonzo.
Broadway reeling from that drop kick.
And a back suplex dumping Broadway right on the back of his neck. And a shoulder up by Broadway. You know, Alonzo, it was April 26, 2014. He had his first ever professional wrestling match. 17 years of age. 10 years later, he was the NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion. Held that title for 118 days. He's 28 now, and there's a reason why he's a standout on the independent scene here in Chicago.
Still relatively young after all of those accomplishments.
Springboard, duck under. Broadway gets dropped.
Spinning Michinoku driver from Ken Broadway.
And you can see the expression on Alonzo's face. That doesn't feel too good.
But Broadway needs to gather some kind of energy if he's going to capitalize on that maneuver.
And Broadway, part of the first ever ladder match in HOG history. Here's a replay of that Michinoku driver.
And steel cage match.
Well, I was going to say, you know, the ladder match against Charles Mason. Cage match, legendary against the late Matt Travis. And the first. Nice clothesline there by Broadway. Back elbow. Into the midsection now, Broadway sent to the far side. Ooh, Alonzo holds on.
Catches Broadway with a back elbow there. Ooh, down on his knees. Hard was Joe Alonzo, and then took a super kick.
Wow, look at that!
One-legged.
And I think he may have buried that knee in his midsection on that landing. Again, he's got the size advantage. So that does not feel good, and it looks like Alonzo's going to try to roll out of harm's way here. You know, with Broadway, you're going to see a lot of elbows and forearm strikes, suplexes. One of his biggest influences was the legendary Mitsuharu Misawa. Studied a lot of tape of him as we take another look. Alonzo back in.
And Broadway would like to walk that King's Road to victory.
Nope, Broadway catches him. Alonzo, he's got the, oh, and then the referee did not see the low blow. This crowd did, you could hear them.
Veteran instincts by Joe Alonzo there.
And a springboard axe handle by, that could be it. And barely, Ken Broadway.
Somehow Ken Broadway able to survive.
Showing signs of life.
After Alonzo accidentally hit Ken Broadway low. I mean, that was just instinct.
Back turn. Broadway's going to be feeling that for a while. Now Alonzo's headed outside. And again, I mean, this has been the theme of the match here. He's got to keep his eyes on Broadway. And that's why.
Broadway.
And Broadway dumps him from the middle rope.
Beautiful overhead belly-to-belly avalanche suplex from Ken Broadway.
Broadway's got that money.
What's he doing with that?
I don't know, but he's headed up top. He's going high risk.
Broadway,
look at that.
Making it rain.
Diving elbow. He got him.
Here is your winner, Ken Broadway.
Putting a little extra something on that. An impressive move, an impressive win here for Ken Broadway.
Ken Broadway made it rain all over Joe Alonzo.
As we take another look, take a look at this suplex from the middle rope. That was the beginning of the end, and then Broadway back up top, making it rain. It was a sunny day here in Chicago, but not tonight, and then boom with that elbow drop.
I have some business to attend to. I'll be back.
Where are you going? Look at this, leaving me high and dry, and the doctor has taken his book. Look, he almost tripped over himself.